Hi, my name is Tia, and today I'm going to be presenting my findings and implications for my textual analysis project using environmental factors to promote positive brand identity and analysis of Coke and Pepsi commercials. Coca-Cola already has a strong brand identity simply due to the age and popularity of their product in several countries. For the Coca-Cola text, there are several aspects that show the commercial was created with regards to a cultural issue affecting the environment due to the timing in which it was broadcasted. This commercial, which was praised for the manner in which various cultures were represented and celebrated, first received public support in 2014 when it was shown during the Olympics. It was more recently re-aired during Super Bowl 51 in 2017, which was assumed to be as a response to the then current immigration ban in the U.S. due to its proper timing. Though the commercial was not new, its re-airing during a time of sensitivity within the multicultural population, who at this time was suffering from feelings of exclusions among talks of immigration bans determined by country of origin. Coke undoubtedly used the repurposing of this commercial as an opportunity to work with this tense environment to promote its brand identity through showing support for all cultures, speaking to the organization's ideologies of cultural tolerance. The Coca-Cola commercial is of significant importance because it was successful in being representative of all cultures and not just specific to the multicultural population. Through an ideological analysis, this act reveals their genuine understanding of multiculturalism. They could have chosen to only include diversity in race or gender or sexual orientation, but they chose to include all cultures into this message. This way, they created a shared meaning of the celebration of culture that might ultimately shape behaviors through displaying acceptance, but mainly standardizing diversity. Individuals that view this communicative messaging alongside the brand of Coca-Cola might view the organization as culturally tolerant, which could lead to several other behavioral responses further supporting their brand, like celebrity endorsement, support on social media, and increases in product purchasing. In fact, many celebrities, including Ryan Seacrest, commented on their approval for the commercial. The mere fact that they are able to standardize diversity through a television commercial speaks to open systems theory. This commercial proves Coke was not only affected by their environment, but also affected the environment around them, the very basis of open systems theory. By working with their environment instead of against it, Coca-Cola puts to work an organizing strategy that is a blend of cooperation and competition, which is a quote from Eisenberg 2014, page 82. This strategy, as mentioned before, creates structure, giving power to the organization in that they are now a part of the ongoing conversation and not merely a commentator. While the commercial did receive both positive and negative feedback, standardizing cultural diversity through juxtaposing foreign languages with the nation's anthem definitely creates a modern shared meaning of the United States. Already known to be a melting pot, the United States is positively displayed in this commercial through imagery that may seem contradictory to some. A group of women wearing hijabs buying food in New York City, two male parents taking their son skating, and a cowboy tending to his horses on his ranch. All this imagery together organizes a new shared meaning of the United States and showing that the American people do not, should not, and never have been defined by only one demographic, but conversely have always been defined as a mixture of various demographics. For the Pepsi text, while the environment was considered, it was not in an appropriate way that supported building a strong brand identity. Pepsi also used their surrounding environment, which was influenced by the current Black Lives Matter protests, in an effort to show cultural diversity, but was executed in a manner that trivialized the importance of protests. Pepsi's commercial also came during a time of cultural tenseness in the environment, as Black Lives Matter movement specifically began to become more violent with each protest back in early 2017. During this time, emotions were high among the public in general, as the media was reporting these sometimes violent rallies weekly. The commercial, which borrowed imagery from an actual Black Lives Matter protest, likely showed a discourteousness for the cause of these protests and those that have been involved, plummeting Pepsi's brand identity through its association with an intolerant visual message. With the Pepsi example, the general unrest among Americans caused by this environment undoubtedly fueled the intensity of public disapproval against this commercial. Let's remember that media images are ideological, meaning they represent the true beliefs of an organization. Because the Pepsi commercial played down the significance of protests, Pepsi ultimately communicated that they do not respect the significance of multicultural issues, and this is exactly how this text was also interpreted in the eyes of their audience. The shared meaning Pepsi communicated in this is the very ideology being challenged with these protests, which is quite ironic. In borrowing imagery from events that resulted in violence for the purpose of an inappropriately toned, upbeat soda advertisement, Pepsi commercial added fuel to the fire in the wrong way. From an open systems perspective, yes, they absolutely responded to the environment around them and likely relied on this one approach to craft their message, since they also featured Kendall Jenner, a popular celebrity, an additional environmental factor in terms of the analysis. However, they essentially gave proof that this supposed ideology of multicultural issues not being of importance actually exists. Making light of violent protests isn't appropriate, and featuring a celebrity that is white reflects an ideology that the strategy was marketing focused and not diversity focused. So, the ideologies communicated with this commercial obviously came under public discourse. In fact, many practicing protesters recreated the fictional Pepsi commercial while marching in protest themselves in order to further highlight how Pepsi just validated this ideology that is sometimes debated in regards to its existence. The Pepsi commercial was also successful in its joining of the conversation as prompted by the environment, just not in a helpful way to the organization. The trivialization of protests interpreted by Pepsi's text definitely shaped its audience's reality in that it validated the initial triggers behind the protests happening in this environment. For those audiences that were skeptical of the significance of cultural intolerance or perhaps doubted its existence in the U.S., this commercial spoke loudly that these intolerant ideologies do exist and continue to be problematic. In regards to brand identity, behaviors associated with the Pepsi commercial spoke loudly. Pepsi immediately pulled the advertisement out of rotation and issued a very public apology, both gestures that prove their misconduct. This public apology falls in line with shared expectations, and that an apology is not encouraged, but socially mandated as a gesture to atone for their actions. The main takeaway from these two examples is that while an organization can take an open systems approach in hopes of building their brand identity, an ideological analysis can easily reveal the true beliefs behind an organization. Coca-Cola, which focused on celebrating multiculturalism, incorporated aspects of patriotism to normalize cultural diversity through its imagery. Pepsi, which merely focused on the incorporation of any environmental factor around them, failed to send any true message of support in its text. In these two examples, we've seen that the best way for an organization to show support for the ideologies they wish to demonstrate to their audiences is for them to actually incorporate those ideologies into their organization.